Hey guys, Gavin Heggs here from Moto, Australian motocross coach. Today we're going to go through some basic fundamentals with sliding, so brake slides and power slides. Certain situations on the track, as you start getting more confidence, can result in the bike hanging out a little bit sideways, and it's very important to get familiar with being able to get the back end hanging out and being comfortable with that. So I'm going to go through some drills that are going to help you to be able to get used to that in a little bit more of a slower paced environment, to then step forward into being able to carry that into a track scenario where we'll demonstrate that as well. So first one to be able to do is just as simple as what you'd probably do on a BMX bike in most situations. If you've ever rode a BMX bike and you've locked the back wheel up and hung the back end out and had a bit of a slide there with the rear wheel, and it's a nice easy one. Same thing when it comes to a dirt bike, except obviously we have, instead of some push bikes have the reverse brakes when you back pedal, and some push bikes obviously have it on the levers. On the dirt bike, clutch in, back brake on. So you're stomping on that back brake. This is going well beyond and past our general rules when we're not supposed to be doing this, because we don't want to be locking the back wheel up. But just for the purpose of this drill and to get used to being able to do this and hang the back wheel out, super important to just make sure that that is only used for the purpose of being able to do this drill and not taking that into the track to purposely have the back end hanging out. So clutch in to stop the bike from stalling, on the back brake to lock it up, get the back end hanging out, and that's going to be the first drill that I want you to be able to go through. Obviously with this, the more you start getting used to a normal slide and just keeping it straight, the easier it's going to become to then start to maneuver your body, twist the hips and try and force with your knee to be able to push the back end out, which is then obviously going to let the back end try and slowly overtake into like a little bit of a drift, which is going to be the next step after you've done your straight line skids. So first of all, starting with those, and they're the brake skids, and they're the ones that would most likely happen in a controlled slowing down scenario coming into the entry of the corner. So we start with them, we'll go through the drills, and then we'll move on to the power slide. So first gear, starting with the straight line skids and slides. So standing up, clutch in, back brake. Clutch in, back brake. Just getting that back wheel sliding. Obviously not something you want to purposely do, right? Next one, twisting of the hips. Getting that back end hanging out, keeping it in control. Trying to make sure that we're locking the rear wheel up. Keeping good control, it's nice and slide. Sliding is a very important skill to have. Keeping the back wheel hanging out. Making sure you got complete control of it. Keep the feet on the foot pegs. So the two examples there where we are making sure that we are straight for the first one, standing up the whole way, first gear, and then hanging the back end out, twisting the hips and pushing with the knees on the second one. It's important to make sure you get comfortable with having those the back end hanging out and being able to make sure that you don't dab your foot on the ground or get scared and wobble and put your foot down. Keep control, keep the legs on, and try and stay on the angle that the bike's putting you on as much as you can without falling over, and keep it upright. Moving on to being able to try and introduce that onto the track, similar thing, but without the slide obviously being so exaggerated. It's going to be a little bit less, and the back end is probably not ideally going to be locked up completely. You'll get a slight rotation of the wheel in most of your braking scenarios, which then has the back end hanging out. So it was a little bit, like I said, not exaggerated as much, but still definitely had the back end overtaking the front a little bit on the angle coming into the approach, more so on the one over there on the second turn. But yeah, if you see any of your mates overhanging the back end like that, get them to do these drills, and we'll get onto the power slide. The next step from this is the complete opposite when it comes to your acceleration out from the exit of the turn. Obviously, being a power slide, it's a little bit more faster pace, can be a little bit more dangerous when learning. Obviously being in a flat area is ample for learning the drill side of things and developing the skill. So similar scenarios of how we set up that braking drill where we were doing our acceleration up to the turn and braking, except this time instead of braking and hanging the back wheel out, get yourself approaching nice and comfortably. Then sitting down into the seat and accelerating out, trying to get the back wheel to overtake the front into that drift situation where we were exiting out from the turn. I think that is going to be the hardest part to make sure. Without your technique with cornering, it's going to be very hard to get this to happen. So I'd recommend getting your cornering technique sorted before trying this. However, if you're up to that stage now where you are comfortable with your cornering technique, maintaining that is very important whilst being aggressive on the accelerator, which is the whole purpose of this. So then we're going to get the back end to hang out in a controlled power slide to finish off into our second part of the learning about having the back end hanging out and sliding. Alrighty, so we're going to come into these two corners over here where we're going to start to learn about that power slide, getting the bike to hang out a little bit, where we can actually control the bike with that power being on. So alrighty, so not completely hanging out where it's out of control, not just a flick out from the side, but a gradual increase of flicking the back end out. Keeping control of that is ample enough to be able to try and make sure that you're keeping control in that power situation out the exit of the turn, gaining the most optimal amount of acceleration. If it does happen, these drills and scenarios that you're practicing are going to help you to be more comfortable and confident in these situations on the track where you possibly might in the past have freaked out, backed off and caused yourself more harm. So practice this as much as you can, get comfortable with it, free yourself up and really try and enjoy the process because it can become a lot of fun. So send this to a mate who's spun out, done some 360s like the Mario Kart, and hopefully you can enjoy getting that back end hanging out and doing some drifts. Thanks guys.